Hello everyone. So the international break is finally coming to an end. This has seemed like the longest one so far, so I'm really glad it's over. I'll start with a quick review of game week 11, which was really kind to me. So I got 77 points, which gave me a game week rank of just less than 5k globally when you take hits into account. So it was a really strong week on the back of a decent week before that. So I'm really pleased because I desperately needed it. As some of you know, all season I've been sort of stagnating around the 500k mark and not really been able to make much of a change to my rank there. But in the last 2 game weeks, I've gone from 584k to 174k, so massive jumps there. Still some work to do, but I'm much closer to where I want to be. The first topic that I want to deal with is Harry Kane, because the FPL community is abuzz with talking about him. And I know that he's a top transfer target for many. A lot of others not so sure, not so keen. So here's what I think about him. In his favour are the following. A, we know what he's capable of. He's historically consistent returner of FPL points. B, his upcoming fixtures are great. Could hardly be better. C, at just over 8%, he's actually something of a differential, which is surprising. And D, his goals for England, might have given him a bit of a confidence boost, as we know happens with strikers. Against him, well, his form has been awful with Spurs. And to be honest with you, this seems symptomatic of him not wanting to play for Spurs rather than any sort of confidence issue. Secondly, Conte's focus when taking over a new team historically has been in turning them into a defensive unit before then focusing on attack, so that could stand against him. And then also his goals against San Marino and Albania, well, there's no comparison in the gulf of quality between those teams, so we shouldn't be reading too much into those goals. I personally think there's very little between Son and Kane. For those who have neither, people who have an easy route to Son because they're getting rid of a midfielder such as Havertz, for example, well, they'll convince themselves that Son is the better asset. Those who have the easier route to Kane, so those who have Vardy and are looking to shift him out, well, they will convince themselves that Kane is the better asset. So it's all very team dependent. In my personal opinion, Son has proven himself to be capable of returns despite a poor Spurs performance this season, whereas Kane hasn't. See some people going for the double up. I could certainly understand why they're tempted. For me, it's too early. I want to see what happens before I even consider making moves to bring both in. So in terms of transfers, I'll point out that we are about to be thrust into the ruthless world of Christmas fixture congestion. Games are going to be coming thick and fast. Squad rotation is going to be an issue. So what I would say is managers should start prioritising their sensible transfers over luxury transfers. If you can do both, then great. But if not, I would recommend building that bench up. So for me personally, I've got Havertz and Azpilicueta. So with Lukaku back in training, I think Havertz is nailed on. Playing time is going to come to an end. And Azpilicueta has now proven that he is a major rotation risk for Chelsea, so they've both got to go for me. Because I've got 2 free transfers saved, my plan is to bring in Duffy for Azpilicueta, and that releases enough funds for me to go Havertz to Son, which is both a sensible and luxury transfer combined. But my advice is if you've got fires to put out, and you're considering going for a luxury transfer, so for example Vardy, who isn't a rotation risk to Kane, then I'd consider sorting out your fires first. Or if you absolutely have to do that luxury transfer, maybe take a hit to sort both out. Every year I see people getting caught out, particularly at this time of year, by not having any cover on the bench. So then finally, in terms of captaincy, well, I've always got Salah winking at me for the armband, but part of me doesn't fancy it this game week. Arsenal are toughening up a little bit at the back, and Liverpool's form has dipped a little bit of late. Part of me is tempted to actually put the armband on Son, who I'm bringing in, or maybe even Cancelo. I really don't know. I suspect this one will go down to the wire. Anyway, good luck everyone. It's good to have FPL back, yes.